Schlubba, lubba, dig dong on a Wednesday.
Yeah, baby. Oh, we got 3 of these babies down already. 3 of these only people that pay for the service can watch. That's pretty good we're doing so far.
They like to identify as subscribers.
Well, I like to make sure they know they've paid for it because I appreciate it very much.
Yeah. Joe, it used to be when we did the radio show, a hump day. Is it no longer hump day?
It is a hump day. Hump day! Mike.
There we go. Welcome to it, episode 3, dogandjoepodcast.com. If you found us, if you're here, thank you. Thank you for the money. Make sure you check out the store. During the last episode, if you haven't caught it yet, we talked about Joe's fetish. And we have an item in the Dog and Joe outpost waiting for you to fantasize and do whatever you want with them. Pick up the Dog and Joe flip-flops.
My fetish. You're disturbing is what you are, man.
Lots of people, and you know what? We'll talk. We're not going to go into it now because we have more stuff, but the foot fetish is really weird, and we'll do a whole show, a whole podcast on fetishes. It's weird how fetishes work. Lots of people like feet, one, because it holds the woman. I'm using the woman because I'm a straight guy. They hold the woman up, but there's weird fetishes too because stuff stinks. There's armpit fetishes.
Those are gross fetishes, though.
Foot fetishes, there's all kinds of stuff that go into a foot fetish, and lots of people have them. A foot fetish is not all that uncommon. It's probably one of the more common fetishes.
My foot fetish is that I don't like ugly feet. That's the only thing. It's not that I'm overly attracted to pretty feet. It's just that the ugly ones really disturb me.
That's not a fetish, then. That's a hatred or a disdain or a disliking of ugly feet.
Well, I've tried to say that. You're the one who makes it a fetish.
Well, it's just we talk about it a lot, and I don't know why it is, but you've always been fascinated. Remember Lizzie Hailstorm?
How could I forget? That's all the guys in the Amco shop could talk about. Remember that one time you and Dog were interviewing that rocker chick, and he told her that you liked her feet? And I said, yeah, how could I forget it? I was standing 1.5 feet away from her. He did that right in front of me.
You went and saw her perform in the little studio, and you said, oh, man, I kind of think that girl's hot. She was up there on stage. She didn't have her shoes on. She was kind of sexy. And we had a chance to interview her. And I said, hey, Lizzie Hale, I don't know if you know this or not, but Joe over here, man, your feet got him all fired up. And he thought, and I think she said, well, thank you.
She did say that, but she was straight creeped out. How could she not have been?
Oh, I guarantee she hung up the phone and called the cops, local authorities. Or
absolutely.
We are going to dive into this right out of the gate. I don't know how much time it's going to take. And again, if any of these stories bore you, let us know. We are doing this for you. You're subscribing. You're paying. We've never let all this stuff out. We never could. And I don't want to turn this into one of those bitch fests. I see so many podcasts. They go on and they just want to burn the old employer to the ground. That's not what I want to do. I just want the truth to be known about the company. Locally, you have to understand this. I Hate Radio is a giant, the biggest radio company in America. The people we worked with in Sacramento, they were all cool. That's why we worked there.
100% truth.
It was the overlords and it was the cartel above them that made day-to-day life miserable. So keep that in mind and remember that.
And this is only the last place had a far different reason for us leaving.
Oh, the guy was a dick.
Yeah, that guy is gone, and that regime is out of there. It's a brand new thing over there. So none of this is on them. This is just where we just came from.
Yeah, I Hate Radio. So we got there in February of 2017. That's when we started. Everything was good. We were fired up. We were happy. We were doing good stuff. I really wanted Dana to come aboard, as did Joe. It happened. We were clicking. Dana was doing all the producer stuff and all the social stuff, and she was doing so much for us, and everything was off to a great start. And I think we came in, I think the station was like in 8th or 9th place when we started. It quickly jumped, and we were off and running. We were having a great time. We were doing lots of fun stuff.
So fun.
And about 2018, I think, is when we beat the Rob, whatever they are now show.
It took us about a year to beat them. Yeah, we had to get warmed up and go for a minute. We were going for about a year before it happened.
Yeah, give or take. And we beat them for a little bit.
Mm-hmm.
And it went back and forth, and both the shows jumping around. And Armstrong and Getty at the time, they were in the mix a little bit.
Mm-hmm.
And we were all going back and forth kind of between first and third, bouncing
Everybody
around.
took their turn,
Yeah. And when COVID hit, we were doing the show from home. Joe was at his home. I was at my home. And Dana was at her house. I never could get tested to see if I had COVID because this whole thing broke. Remember, I was the one that got sick first, pretty sick, and then we had to go home.
Yeah, Dog left early. Dana and I stayed, and we're doing the show from the studio while Dog was at home. And then Dana got sick and had to go home, and then they made me leave too.
And this is like...
Because I never got it during that first run. I didn't get COVID until COVID had been here too. I had already got suckered into the vaccine and all that crap before I ever got it.
Yeah, this was like into 2019, 2020 when this stuff just started.
Yeah.
And so everything's going good. And then when we were doing the show from home, this would have been probably 2021, somewhere in there. My years and dates might be off a little bit, but we were in second place. And this is still all the old people. And everything's going great.
Because all those folks lost ratings as well because nobody was driving. So we kind of, all three big shows dropped together. You know what I'm saying? So as far as not placement, but amount of people listening at one time.
We got hit harder.
We sure did. Well, we were smaller.
Yeah, we got hit harder. And all hell broke loose, but when COVID was going on and we were at home, we were in second place. Even the boss at the time, great guy, Curtis Johnson, he's like, man, he goes, this is great. Everything's going okay. Well, then no one knew what was going to happen. As soon as they put all those stay at home and, all this crap came out, well, we got hit really hard and we dropped, I don't know, 8th, 10th place. It just happened overnight.
Quick.
Everybody vanished. They weren't driving. Well, our old boss instantly fired. Okay. New guy comes in. He's
it was that quick.
Yeah.
It was that fast.
He was fired instantly. We were heartbroken and we had to move on. And we were told this new guy was going to come in and we were going to have tons of opportunities. And he was going to fix it and yada, yada, yada. Third day we had a meeting with him. He basically said, he goes, you guys are like really funny. There's no reason you should be in like 10th place or whatever we were at. He goes, but we're going to fix all this. You guys have a great show. You guys are really funny. So we're going to meet tomorrow and we're going to change everything. Okay. So he came in, we changed everything. We told him, hey, we like to do Mary Moan murder and we like to do this and we do that. And this is like this. And we want to do more riding dirty and we do this. And we go to restaurants. We couldn't go to restaurants anymore. Restaurants were closed. We like to do this. We like to do that. Nah, that's all garbage. Okay. Well, you're stuck in 2020. Nobody does this stuff anymore. And then they did this thing where they call listeners, quote unquote, call listeners. Well, we found out that people hate me. I'm an asshole. I was also a racist. I was a misogynist. I was a bigot. I hated Hispanic people. All this stuff came out. I hated gays. And I had to change instantly. And we were told by management
This was told him. This was told him that the listeners of this city said this.
Yeah.
Okay. And we'll get to that part of it later as well.
And feel free to add to this too, Joe. Don't let me just ramble.
Well, I just want you to know because I want you to think about how that would make you feel. People that have made you the number one show in afternoons for 20 some years, for 16 years, 15 years.
Yeah.
Then made us number ones in mornings, helped us beat the current number one show. All of a sudden thought that about him out of nowhere. Just all of a sudden, that's what we were told you guys thought about him.
And this has to be said too, as we go through the truths, because other shows do not tell you the truth. Other shows, when they're claiming they're number one, they're not.
They're not.
There were times when we weren't either throughout the time Joe's talking about. This stuff bobbles. It's not a perfect science. It's not like you're the greatest and you're the greatest forever. there were times when all the other shows out there were saying they were number one when they weren't. And there were times, we never talked about the ratings, but there were times when we were doing great and there were times when we were doing okay. And sometimes you're like, well, what the hell happened there? We're doing bad.
There were
But
times.
it's really tough. And I hate to get into all that because everyone wants to, people did like us or they did listen to us. We were a more listened to show than some. I'll just say that. And we had been there a long time and we did some fun stuff. And I think most of the time we were okay at it. And
We did a fine job. We weren't the best, but we did a fine job. We were entertaining to the best we could do.
Well, I'm not gonna say I gave it my best, but I think we did pretty good with them.
I gave it my best.
Yeah, I know. So back to this. They came in and they said all these things were wrong with me. They loved Joe. They absolutely loved Dana, but I was the anchor. All right, stuck in the dirt, stuck in 2020, stuck in the 90s, and I was the problem. I was an asshole. I was mean to Joe. Listeners hated me. I was a bigot. I was a race. I mean, they just went on and on and on. And this was all done from a survey. And I
Supposedly.
yeah, and I still don't believe it because I've asked them to share it again after it happened. They never did. I think it was just their agenda to change me.
I don't think it was real. Where was the proof of it?
Well, they did send us a copy, but then after we asked for it again to see if we had made changes in a positive direction, they couldn't re-provide it.
Right.
So they come in and they tell us all this stuff. So basically what they want to do, what we call this is shaking the Etch-a-Sketch. We're going to clear all the old crap off and we're going to start doing stuff new. Okay. So they tell me all this stuff and then COVID's full effect now. People got weird overnight. Shit just changed. People were gaslighting us and the show and me from the station, and people were getting gaslit in America. People stopped using logic, and everything changed. The world got weird.
Don't you remember how many people got fired, news anchors? And I mean, it got really crazy for a minute.
Well, it's when the politics and everything nothing made sense to me. And I'm hearing this guy tell me all this stuff about me, and I'm fighting for my life to get this cockroach out of my house. And I want him to shut up. And I know what he's telling me isn't all truthful. And I know they want to start changing the show and getting rid of the show. I sense it. I know it. And Joe and I fought. Joe and I argued. I was in the weirdest place in my life I'd ever been. And I know I'm old. I know I'm old fashioned. But you got to know this about me. Whether I'm that way or not, I try to stay up on what's going on. I know what's going on in the world, whether I act like it or I want to accept it or not. And this was a time when everything changed. And I'm like, fuck, I don't fit in anywhere. What do you mean you can't say this? What? Can we talk about that? No, don't talk about it. I mean, all these pictures, all these things, all this stuff was changing in front of me, and I couldn't talk about it. I was told not to talk about it, truthfully. And I was told...
That is the truth, yeah.
I was told I was the problem with the world, and I couldn't fit into it, and I really had a hard time. I was coming home, my wife and I were arguing. I did not fucking fit in, and I've always felt like I did. I had to go to therapy, and
I've always been told I don't fit in, and I was the problem, and I'm too soft and too sensitive and kind of a pussy, and you cry too much, and you know, this and that. So when people say stuff like that to me, I don't care, because I've heard it my entire life. You weakling, you're weak, you're soft, you're too much of a sissy. This and that. But Dog had never been told these things. Well, this kind of stuff had never weighed on his shoulders like that. I constantly have it on mine, so it doesn't really bother me that bad.
I like when people tell me the stuff, and then I can combat it and use it and have fun with it. It doesn't bother me what people think of me. It bothers me when I'm told that, and I'm told I can't do anything about it, or I can't be the person that you're paying me to be that you wanted. And this company, that company, they're watching the news, and they're getting all caught up into this, and they're automatically shifting to an agenda that's softer. And everything I've done in my life that I still believe people that listen to the show wanted, I was told I couldn't do it. And I'm like, I don't know what to do. This is just so weird that overnight my whole world flipped. It was like vertigo, you know, And I'm like, what? Overnight? I'm the Antichrist?
Every company was switching that way. It wasn't just ours. Every company was switching that way. It was,
and I'm watching this, and I'm like, this can't be real. Really? You can't say this anymore? You can't? I don't get it. Well, I started doing therapy, talk therapy, and I don't know if it worked or not. And someday I would love to have this woman on. Great lady. She helped me out a little bit, and it was basically me just talking. You know, I didn't unravel any childhood traumas. There's too many. But I started talking to her 2 days a week, and you know, it was, I don't know, I can't remember what it was, $135.
Oh, it's expensive. I've never stopped doing therapy. I paid for it my entire life.
$160, whatever it was. And I'm going through all this, and I'm like, what do I do? Do I leave? She's like, you know, are you having fun? We'd go through all this stuff. And I was at a point in my life where I'm like, God, I want to be done. I hate what this has become. I know I'm being lied to. This is all a smoke show. But I couldn't let go because financially I had to let the money control the decision. And I'm lucky for that. But people have no idea what I was going through. And I don't know if you care or not, but it was really a weird fucking time when, I mean, they're talking about you're going to shoot sunshine into people's rectums. And I mean, the whole world, it was so weird. What was going on?
He was losing his mind is what was going on.
Oh, I was.
And there was no way to slow it down or stop it. And I was like, you got to just go with the flow, dude. And that's where him and I would fight as I was like,
couldn't.
Because I didn't understand it because I always just went with the flow. I just, I don't know. That's what I do. That's what I did. But then again, I overly try to please people. I've always been that guy that will change and mold and bend to make others around me happy when I'm necessarily not. I'm never happy. So what I do is I always make everyone else happy so I feel happy. But Dog, not so much that way. He just motors through, and that's how it is, and that's how he's been. So when he had to change to do it that way for something he didn't understand and didn't think was right, you know, it was hard. And I know there's a lot of you guys out there that had the same trouble with it because I've spoken to you, and you've told me about it. And I haven't told you about Dog because that wasn't my place to tell you. But now you get to see when I said, I know someone who's experiencing that just like you. There you go. It was him.
None of it made sense, Joe. And that was the thing. I'm sitting here being told by management that the audience doesn't want to hear that. They don't want these words. They don't want those conversations. They want this. And deep in my heart, I knew it to not be true. And they were forcing my hand and telling me that I was the problem, which I'm not going to say that I wasn't, but I knew deep down there were things fundamentally with just human beings that they were trying to shove onto us so we could shove onto you. That was bullshit. And it wouldn't.
They had an agenda that they wanted pushed. And it got to a point even where I didn't want to push their agenda because it was pretty crazy, to be quite honest with you. It was.
It was insane. And every day we would meet, I was the problem. And Joe knows this too. Here's the thing.
They told him that every day, twice a week, that they would talk to him. Every day he heard that for the whole hour and a half phone call. That's what it was.
For the first 6 months, you got to know this about me. I like to kick and scream. I don't like to cry wolf, but I like to kick and scream, and I like to rant, and I like to bitch. But there were times, Joe knows this, 6-7 months, every time we'd get on, the first 15 minutes with our boss was fight. Mm-hmm. And I would stand up for what I believed and I would call bullshit. And it got to a point where I just knew no matter how much bullshit I call her, I tell you I'm not going to do it. I think you're a liar. I think you're wrong. I don't believe your data. You're lying to me. I knew it didn't matter because if I were going to stay longer, I had to submit. And I knew it was wrong, and it drove me crazy, and I hated it. And then you turn the TV on, and you're watching all this stuff. People were getting all weird with politics and vaccines, and I'm like, what? And I want you
what is going on? Yeah, he could not place it. He couldn't place it.
I couldn't because there were so many things that were jacked up and different. It wasn't one. it's like everywhere I went, I'm like, why? What? What do you mean we're driving on the wrong side of the road today? What, I mean, it was like every day you woke up, shit was just twisted. It's like, what do you mean stop means go? So Monday means Thursday? I mean, every day I woke up, it just didn't make sense. And I think about this. I always wanted to share this. It's so crazy, and I'm not going to get political. Do you remember when we go out to Tuesdays or we go out and meet people? Remember, I'd say, hey, it's flu season. If you come out today, don't shake my hand.
Yeah.
And people go, no one had a problem with that. No one's like, what are you, what are you, a snowflake? Are you a libtard? No, your hands are a contact point that touch your fingers and face, and I hate being sick. I don't want the flu. Nobody said shit about it. They'd come out. We'd go out to an event. I'm like, hey, Knuckles. They'd want to shake, and they're like, oh, it's flu season.
Okay, he's a germaphobe. That's all there is to it.
I hate being sick, so they'd knuckle me. No one ever said nothing about it. Then we get into COVID and all this stuff, and it was so weird. People just, I don't know what it was. If they got scared, they didn't want to believe it. I don't know what it was. But then if you wanted to give someone knuckles, like, oh, no.
You're in my bubble. You're in my, I got a space here. Don't violate.
It was great with COVID and the mask and stuff, and hugging stopped. I'm like, oh, God, thank God I hate hugs.
I hated it. I hated that time.
Joe loves hugs. Joe loves hugs. I was like, man, I got a mask on. I can hide behind this. I don't have to hug people. I was in heaven. It was
so unpersonal during those days. And those days I hated. That was a real hard time for me, actually.
My life got to a point where it made so little sense of how people were affiliating with politics and all this stuff. Do you understand that during the week, I get up every morning and I watch Cannon? And then it comes on, Barnaby Jones. I watch Magnum P.I. I watch All in the Family, okay? And these are all
because you can't let it go.
No. Here's the thing. I was so confused about what was going on and told I was so in the dark and so behind the times. I'm like, fuck, I can't understand one thing about modern day. I want to go back to the way it was. And if you read the bio on the website, there's a lot of truth in that. I reverted back to everything that was understood. And you can turn on All in the Family. You can turn on the Jeffersons right now. You'll hear the N-word. You're going to hear Archie Bunker go, he's a fag. You're going to hear all this stuff to me that makes sense. And I understand why people take offense to things. But I have reverted back to, and I'm still trying to come out of it, the way it was. Something shell-shocked me and made so little sense in my head. I just threw my arms in the air and I'm like, I don't know what to do. I hate this, what I'm living in and what I'm being told.
See, now this is where I disagree with him, because I kind of liked some of that. I liked that people weren't being so hurtful to other people. A lot of that was hurtful to people to hear that kind of stuff. And it went on, in my opinion, far too long. But if you can make a joke about any certain group and not be hurtful with it, not mean to strike harm or fear, if you can just make the joke and be silly, that's where a joke is good to me. But when you make people hurt because of a joke, that's where I have a problem with it. That's where I don't like it. And that differs from the views of a lot of people in the world. And when it started to change over towards the way I felt about it, people like Dog, very good friends of mine, probably watching this episode right now, they had a serious issue with it. If it didn't cut and it didn't strike a little bit of pain, a little bit of fear, then the joke was stupid. It wasn't funny.
I know what you're saying, and I do agree with it, but there's...
You know what I mean by that?
I totally get it, but I am a more callous. I like something to sting a little bit. If it bends, it's funny. If it breaks, it's not. That's the best.
People were breaking it, is what I'm saying.
They were.
People were taking it too far. They were making kids commit suicide because of it. It had gotten to a point where it was out of control, the hurt that people were dealing to other people. And as human beings, I'm like, fuck, what are you doing? Why would you know that young children are acting? And I'm not talking about Dog. I'm talking about society on a whole. It got way out of control for a minute.
Everything got weird. And I know what you're saying, Joe. And Joe is very good-hearted, and Joe does like people to have a good time, and he likes the love of people, and here's the thing.
I'm unjudgmental on anyone. I don't give a crap if you're in love with a tree, if you love dolphins, if you want to have your pronoun be computer or keyboard or whatever weird shit things were going on out there. I don't care because it doesn't matter to me. It matters to me that what you're doing makes you happy. It doesn't have to make sense to me. Who am I? I'm just a dude living in the world with you, you know?
Yeah. I pay note to some of these things, and I raise question because we talk for a living.
Sure.
So there's a lot of that I like to bring up because it's fun, but I don't care either what you do, as long as you're paying taxes and you're leaving me alone, and you know you're a good neighbor and your dog's not barking, and you know what, you're looking behind you in the rearview mirror, and you're not going through your change purse at the store, and you're not going in every time you go into the freaking gas station to cash in your lottery tickets ahead of me.
See, you let all that get to you. I only let what was hurting people get to me.
And I get it. And again, I was kind of kidding with that.
No, you're not. You're not kidding. You don't like it when people go in and buy lottery tickets, and you hate it when they're driving slow in the fast lane. I mean, that's true. Yeah.
I do. I was being irreverent with that, but it's true that I do hate that stuff. But what happened through that time when I was going to this woman and paying her to help me, and my wife even said, she goes, you can't, she goes, I can't do this anymore. You got to, try something. I'm like, I'm not going to do therapy. I think
it works though. It works.
I think it helped me kind of get through it, but I don't know if it helped me. And that's not to discredit this person. Again,
I think it helped you.
I think that I took some good stuff, but here's the thing. If I'm a Sopranos fan, what Dr. Melfi did was help create a bigger monster in Tony Soprano than when he got there. And she finally, toward the end of it, learned she was a conspirator and helping him become a better mob boss than a better person.
Okay.
And it's all because of his manipulative, conniving, shark-like mentality that I sometimes have, meaning you can only take on so much therapy where it works if you allow it.
You have no. You. The only way therapy works is if you allow it. You have to be open to it.
And it was cool to learn some of these things and some of these skills and exercises, and it did help. But I'm still stuck in. I mean, people would laugh their asses off if they saw my entire house. If you saw things that are in it, I mean, and my wife knows this, I'm like digging. If time machines existed, man, it would be cool. Cause I'm clinging on to everything that used to be, because
that's no joke.
I hate the way things are now. And I hope, I know it's only 2 days in, so, we have no idea, but I hope and to Joe's point, I don't need hatred. I don't need evil. I like a joke to sting. If it bends, it's funny. If it breaks, it's not. I don't need things to go so sideways where people get hurt.
No, and I wasn't talking about you. I was talking about society was getting there, But you have underneath, or else I would never have been partners with you for as long as I have. Underneath all of your hard exterior is a nice man. And if that wasn't there, if that wasn't the truth about you, I would never have teamed up with you for this amount of time.
I have a soft caramel center. I
don't know about that.
It's a candy coating, okay? They always say the chocolate melts in your mouth. Of course, the candy melts, but the chocolate doesn't. People confuse that. I don't have a heart. I have a soft caramel center.
I'll go with that. Okay, that's probably true.
And again, I don't know if it's going to, I hope it gets better and sensitivities change. I believe in calluses. I believe that bullying to certain degrees, and I'm not going to go into which degrees or where.
Well, now it's gone too far the other way.
It's
now
natural.
You got kids hitting teachers and kids beating up children and stomping on their faces in
That's
school.
That's not bullying. That's loss of respect. And
I mean,
what happens is when authority goes away and when everyone can say that the teacher can't discipline and the principal can't paddle, here you go. Corporal punishment. Oh, it's terrible, isn't it? Well, now look. Now the students are the administrators at schools. And I don't want to go too deep into that.
No, but that just shows you how it flip-flops. It goes so crazy one way, it's got to go crazy to get back to somewhat normalcy. And it went way out of control this time.
And you always see shifts, social shifts or political shifts. I don't know what it was about COVID that made it weird and freaked people out.
Well, Americans were locked in their homes, and that I don't think any of us have ever seen anything like that, and that was disturbing.
We hadn't, and runs on toilet paper. I mean,
well, that was just stupid, people.
It was just so weird, but then everything changed, and from what we did as a business and how people acted, and it was really tough. You'd go somewhere and you're like, even people now, they're like, hey, I'm not this kind of guy, but I don't want to offend you, but I notice people talking differently now. Everyone's kind of got this top of mind about, I don't want to upset anyone, or I'm being cautious about offending.
I think that's okay. I like that. I believe the world should why do we need to fight amongst one another so much? I don't think there's any need for that.
I'm not saying fight. And yes, there needs to be a level of respect brought back, and compassion.
Sure.
And respecting and loving fellow human. I get all that. But the way that we were talked to and I was dealt with, the show was dealt with.
No, the way they did you wrong. There could have been a much more civilized, coming from adults, adult way to talk to somebody. They didn't have to do that.
And the thing that pisses me off, and Joe knows this guy that was handing down, and I don't fault the guy. He was just the messenger. The guy that was doling out the duties, he wasn't in our office. We had no human contact with him. So he also got away with a lot more, and I had to take a lot more because we were on a screen like you're listening to us now. And
what made it worse is once we had contact with him, we found out he was just like you.
Cheers.
That was weird, wasn't it?
Go back to yesterday's podcast and you'll get the story about the skirt that sold tires and the conclusion. Yes.
It's just weird.
Yeah. And that's why I like the guy. I try not to beat him up, but I'm like, okay, so this dude's a dude, we'll call it, but he can't act like he is, and he has to tell us. It'd be like me coming on and telling, another guy, hey, don't make any more boner jokes. Boner jokes are not politically correct in 2025. I couldn't do that. I couldn't. And that's really what that guy had to do. He had to quit being a guy and talk to a guy that didn't want to quit being a guy. And he did it to save his job. And I understand that. And I've got no beef against him because it was coming down from above.
I don't either, because that was the first time I'd really ever seen a boss so stressed out that I was worried for that man. Like, he was wigging most days of his life, dude, wasn't he? They put those people on the third rung. You got your high corporate, you got your middle high corporate, and then you got your low guys corporate. They treat those low guys corporate
crappy.
Probably worse than they treat us.
Oh, they might. Yeah. And I mean, so every meeting we had with this guy, it was 10, 15 minutes of him telling me what not to do and me arguing and him saying, well, if you can't do it, then, he goes, people above me are going to get rid of you. So either keep doing it and get fired or not. And then we'd kind of have a chuckle, and then we'd talk about what he drank last night.
Yeah. And then we would all become friends and laugh. And in the call, it felt as if after he got berated for a little while and told he was going to be fired, then we needed to cheer him up. Then the phone call ended.
Yeah.
It was weird.
Yeah. He's like, well, I guess I'll go. It's 3 hours time difference here. I got a cold bottle of vodka waiting. Maybe I'll have gin tonight. Last night we drank 3 bottles of wine. I'm like, I like to drink. Don't get me wrong. But this dude was hitting it, I think, because he had to.
Oh, there's no doubt about it. They were wearing him thin.
Yeah.
I still feel bad for that guy. If he holds the position he holds, I mean, I can't even imagine what they're doing to him now.
Yeah. So I don't know what happened to me, and nobody heard this on the air. Maybe you did. But it's really weird, and I'm trying to come out of it, and I don't want to. And I just, everything that's old to me is good. There's no good that's come from the news since, I don't know, 2022. It's just, and Joe, we joked about this all the time. You've always loved technology. I've always told you it sucked. And I've always truthfully portrayed this guy that doesn't want to live in the now or the future. But I did live in the now and the future. And what I'm talking about is legitimate to where I didn't understand it and I no longer wanted to where I truly reverted back to old times of yore.
Yeah,
and
he did. He did. That's where it came from.
It's pretty gross too. I mean, you know who Cannon is? Frank Cannon. He's a private detective. He's a big fat dude, and I watch all these old shows. They're so terrible, but it's pretty cool because you see Nick Nolte, Martin Sheen, Jamie Lee Curtis. You see all these old school actors when they're kids doing these little bit roles, and it's kind of funny. And Columbo, oh my God. I mean, you know, Barnaby Jones is about the worst, but I watch it, and I don't know what it is. Hearing the theme songs, watching the grainy TV, it's like I'm almost ready to rip down the HD TVs. I'm going to go out and get set-top boxes, or I'm going to go out and get tubes again. It's like just anything that's current and new, I hate it. I hate it what this has become.
Not me. I love it. I love it. This is only the worst time in my life because what I used to cure my depression and anxiety was taken from me. And it made my entire world worse.
But who took it from you?
The company. I mean, when they fired us, that was what I used to my entertaining and talking to people and making them feel happy inside and just passing along humor and goodness and the love for individuals. When that got taken from me, that was the worst thing that could have ever happened to me.
Yeah, but here we are.
Yeah, but it's 5 months later. I mean, I damn near didn't survive it.
I know, but
it was the hardest 5 months of my life, and I have never been lower or sank to lower depths ever in my life than these last 5 months. It was the worst. It was worse than divorce, because with divorce, I could still see my ex-wife. They took everything from me. They took my ability to communicate with the people that I loved in this world.
Yeah.
And it leveled me.
I can't, I understand what you're saying. I can't, and I sympathize, but I can't agree with that because I was just, when it was done, after the initial being pissed off that I had to go through all that and deal with all this crap and did everything the way they wanted. And then they did that after the initial bandage was yanked or the scab fell off. It was nothing but joy. I'm like, F them. I'm just glad I'm not going in there dealing with it. And
well, I was happy that the radio was over. I mean,
Yeah.
I hated that part of it, but then they wouldn't let us talk on our social media. They threatened to sue us. They threatened to take money away. It was like, dude, they tried to kill us is what they tried to do. And I don't understand that.
Yeah, but what they've given me, I found, is new life. And
well, maybe I'll find that too.
I hope
I'm still
you do,
experiencing a terrible time right now.
And here's the thing, you know how much I love money, and they took care. Well, I'm not gonna say they took care of us. And it was pretty good.
I mean, it helped.
It was a great little salary. Could have been more. Could have been a lot less. They paid us good, but not nearly what we should have been paying to deal with their ignorance and the agenda and everything they did. Radio could be such a great gig, and it used to be, and they ruined it, and they treated people terribly. And
radio was supposed to be a great gig.
mm-hmm.
It was supposed to be about you guys. It's what it was. Like I said, I was always lucky that I got to work on a rock station, but I don't care. I would have done country. I would have done merengue music. I don't care what music came out of those speakers, as long as I got to have you. That's all I cared about.
And I'm far more selfish. Radio is never about what they wanted. It's about what I thought they wanted and what I wanted to give them and what I wanted to do. Now, okay, hold on. You think you think that's arrogant
exactly right
or conceited? But here's the thing: And when you're young, you're talking to somewhat older people a little bit, people do fall off. People do age. People get older. But I did this on my terms for me. I got to play stuff I wanted, say stuff I wanted, and I was going to do it my way. Lo and behold, someone along the line said, hey, people like it. Keep doing it. So I did. And it all went fine until everything hit the fan with COVID, the new management. And then I was told, hey, I know you've been told that you were good, but you're garbage. People hate you. You have a horrible outlook. You didn't get a memo that it's 2020. You're a racist. You talk about your wife using a vacuum and you drinking beer on the couch. You're a misogynist. It all came out.
That never got told me. So I avoided that, thank God, because that would have really messed me up.
I didn't care that they said it. I cared that they told me I couldn't talk about it. and tell people the truth and what was going on. And that's what pissed me off. I couldn't fight back. And my hands were tied. And I've never been in that position out of doing this almost, 30, whatever it's been, too damn long.
That's why I tell you, it'll never happen again. No one will ever tell me when I can talk to you guys and when I can't, why I can talk to you. No one will ever take that away from me again, ever.
And the other thing is the $2.99, you should be paying us more. I mean, as I sit here and we crunch numbers.
Everyone knows that. We are giving it to them for free still. But it's a low amount of money to work with you guys, as every one of us are having trouble in this world right now. Nobody's getting it for free. Nobody's getting anything easy. Everything still sucks. So we wanted to be able to entertain you and try to make a living at it while not killing your pocketbook.
You're saying living. I'm going to keep it, I'll call it a surviving. Well, I think we're going to wrap up. I don't know how much more we can go on.
We need to.
Topic.
We're getting close to the end of these. We got to keep these things under an hour so they're easily uploadable and easily, you guys can get them quickly.
Yeah, we did say we were going to do hour episodes, and we're gonna get it close. But some of these uploads on some of these sites and stuff, it's a little painstaking.
Oh, it takes a long time, man.
And just know this too, this has kind of been our disorientation week. We're still kind of, trying to figure out how this is all going to work. We are going to get into real shows. If you go to the YouTube, Dog and Joe YouTube channel, Joe has put up 5, 7, 8 episodes called prequels. Mm-hmm. This was the podcast before the podcast, before we had to shut it down. And I think there's some decent shows on there. There's some stuff on there that's waiting. That you can get for free, and a lot of that will remain for free. But going forward, we are going to charge you, and you got to pay. And we are going to find out this week, too, if our lights, when they show up, look good or not, or if we're going to rip down our $10.99 gray Target shower curtains. Hopefully people can see mine's not lumpy, and I'm hoping that these wrinkles come out and it flattens. If not, my wife's going to take a shower with it, and hopefully the steam will let it hang.
I can't get mine off the wall. You screwed it to it. Mine won't come down now. Now mine's just up there.
No, you just take the screw out.
I'm teasing. I'm kidding with you.
Your lighting and yours, the wrinkles have come out, and yours looks so much better. Like, it really does.
I want more on it. That's why I can't wait for them signs to get here.
I know, Joe. If someday... And you know what? It's going to be soon when I go back up there. We're going to do a live, and I'm going to run them, not all over your house. I'll cover the phone when there's stuff that we don't want shown. They're going to see all your effing knickknack storage spaces and all. It's gross.
It's not gross. It's awesome.
It's dirty. Kids don't even have this much crap. You've got more toys than children.
So what?
It's like everywhere. And you walk in, I mean, you're turning into a hoarder.
I am not.
It's
that table and the island in my kitchen, that's all cleaned off now.
The island of the stream, is that what we call it? But here's the thing. It's different than hoarding, because I know you're not going out and bringing junk home. Well, it's junk, and you're not like buying 16 of the same things, and you're not collecting newspapers and all.
Everything's in a specific spot.
But it's too much. It's everything Joe does. If he gets one little Hot Wheel, there's 1,000 of them. Then he starts stacking them. If he's going to collect a football helmet, then there's going to be 30 of them. He stacks them up. And then he's going to get dragons. And then he's going to get skulls. And then he's going to get lollipops. And then he's going to get gnomes and unicorns. And all this shit is everywhere.
I don't get unicorns.
And he's got keychains and little knives and rabbit feet and gold coins. And there's just so much junk everywhere. It's insane. And the reason I bring that up is because if we take these curtains down, you're going to see it. It's all on his walls. It's like
it's beautiful in here. I wish you could see it right now. It's lovely.
It's a consignment or thrift store that just went blah, all over the walls, and it's all over.
What do you mean? There's a matching space theme in here.
It is. I know. It drives my eyes crazy. I think on Monday's show, or maybe it was Friday. No, maybe it was Thursdays last week. We talked about Sanford and Son, and they were going to call Joe Lamont. In fact, we had to get rid of these curtains.
Idiot. So stupid.
So all that's coming up next week. We really, really appreciate your time. Let us know what you thought about all this. If any of it bored you, let us know. Chime in.
Well,
and that was kind of the closure of my therapy. Okay.
Yeah.
And I'm not going to go on and on and on. If something comes up that we have to discuss, we'll always tell you the truth on it. You could ask.
You know it now. I mean,
Yeah.
there's nothing else. I mean, we could tell you the reason that they fired all the radio stations if you want to know. I mean, but I guess that's public notice. You can look and check that for yourself.
Yeah, we took about 4.5 years and condensed it into 51 minutes and 22 seconds. We can always go on more, and there's a lot of details. I mean, it's always going to come up, or it'll probably come up here and there. There's a lot of stuff you don't know that could come out. Some of it's boring, and some of it's a little bit worse, and it'll come out. But I don't want to bore people with all this, and I don't know how much they care about it. But that was more, I think, for me and us, getting that out. Now we move on and get back to the show.
Yep, I'm done with it. I've been done with it since they let me go. I have no problem with anyone at that company, here or there, except for that guy that fired us. That's the only individual I have an issue with, because I don't believe my very first time in my life getting fired should have been on the phone.
Yeah, but but here's the thing. You can't even blame him.
I do. I blame him.
That came from above. That's how they do it now. Nobody in their right mind wants to fire people in person anymore because they don't want to get thrown off balconies. They don't want to have desk chairs beaten over their backs.
Oh, come on. I wasn't going to do that. I would
doesn't
never
matter.
do that.
That's where I have to defend the old company. I hate radio. They do what all the other tech companies and big companies do now because they don't want to deal with anyone's shit or any combative behavior. They know people are going to get upset, and they just disassociate and keep
Human beings
clean.
deserve more.
They do.
A human being deserves more. When you give your entire life to something, you deserve more.
You do, but that's not the way they do it. You love Elon Musk. He sends out texts. He sends emails. He sends out tweets. People show up at work and their fobs don't work, and their cars are shut off. Their Tesla cars don't work because he said, "Hey, that car's done. We've discontinued your account, and oh, by the way, check your email. You don't work here anymore."
Well,
lots of people.
I don't do things that way.
No, but I don't blame that guy because I know he was told to do it that way as well. That's why it still goes back to corporate, and there's nothing local that I blame anyone for.
No, I do.
But,
only him.
I think we're good. Are we good?
I think we are. Yeah, we're getting close right now to the hour mark, so we got to be good.
Okay. Thank you so much, truly. Let us know what you like and don't like about these conversations. Chime in, Dogface or dogandjoepodcast.com. That's where you go to pay, and all the other platforms you're going to see little shorts, little snippets and clips. Click on those and go to the store because we've got sexy flip-flops with our logo on them waiting just in time for spring.
There's all kinds of cool stuff on there now, man. Yeah, he put a lot of new stuff up there, so you're going to love it. At any rate, thank you again for hanging out and watching. We do appreciate it more than you'll ever know. And we'll talk to you soon. Have a great day, night, evening, morning, whenever you watch it. Play nice.